Hey folks, welcome back here. This is going to be the last Tune In Tuesday episode, and I kind of just want to dive into why. I think that all in all, the Tune In Tuesdays was a way for me to keep the collective up to date on what's going on astrologically. And I think I'm noticing at this time that I don't think that necessarily is very much in alignment with the impact that I guess I'm trying to have, or the impact that I'm trying to have is not necessarily being had through those means. So there are going to be a couple of changes in what is the focus of the podcast, what is the focus of the social media. And so definitely keep a tune out in 2026. I'd be lying if I told you right now I know exactly what the changes are going to be and what they're going to look like, because the reality is that I just feel this inkling, this call to alter things. I think there's been a lot of external validation to that as well, and just being very practical about the way things have been going, but also what's the intention behind it and remaining connected to that intention. So there's going to be a lot of, for me, self-reflecting and self-analyzing on who am I and how do I want to put myself out there and how do I want to brand myself. And I think I might not be the only one kind of grappling with these things. We are exiting the 9 year, going into the 1 year, this Aries energy in which we are figuring out who we are, like the baby all over again. I'm sure there's been lots of changes in the last decade for everyone, especially on a larger scale, but also just like the frequencies in the air, there's a lot of collective shifts that are happening. And on a minuscule level, this can look different for everyone. But all in all, there is this energy of stepping into a new cycle, a new phase for the next decade. And so I think it's very important that we are all using this as a time to step into a newfound sense of self. Step into a little bit more of an explorer energy, a little bit more of a confidence energy, a little bit more of just understanding that the world is at your fingertips and you've now been given the energy and the momentum to do whatever you want with that, right? Bring whatever purpose or meaning to your life that you want to bring in, and being very intentional about that. So I think that's sort of the energies that are happening largely in the air. And I think that's also coming to me in terms of my own personal branding and sense of self and how that's impacting how I come up on social media. Additionally, this episode is just going to be a little bit of update with myself and Back to Divinity, but also it is going to be heavily focused on the astrology of 2026, just like a general recap, because one thing that I do see for Back to Divinity is a little less on updates astrologically. If you do want to know what is going on astrologically, I think I've put enough stuff out there for you to trust and believe that I can give you what you need and an astrological reading. So if you really are interested in knowing what transits are coming up, how 2026 will impact you, there are many readings that I offer that I can, provide those messages for you, that cosmic guidance to be able to navigate the energies in the collective right now and how it's impacting you on a more personal level. So that is going to be sort of one of the big shifts. Less astrology on the, current transits, and a little bit more focus on how we can use astrology to understand ourselves and to understand the other and our relationship with the other. So a little bit different sort of perspectives and content that I'm going to be putting out there when it comes to astrology. So very much looking forward to that shift. But also, I still felt it was, important to close out Tune In Tuesday with a big just 2026 sort of recap of any major transits that are going on. So as you all know, Chinese zodiac is going to be the red fire horse for 2026. This is very in alignment with the 1 year, the same way in the snake was in alignment with the 9 year. But there is this energy of after having shed, after having walked away and closed things out, there's this energy of having that fire, that momentum, that push to go galloping like a horse into whatever new path, new direction, new road or journey you decided to embark on. If you made any of those strides and found yourself possibly simultaneously starting new things while closing out old things simultaneously, this can be finally when you feel like you're really diving into this new journey without carrying the weight of still having to close things out. Again, can look different for everyone on a minuscule level, but all in all, there's this sort of releasing of baggage and releasing of burdens, releasing of weight that has been there for years on end, and really finding yourself walking into this new energy. I'm kind of seeing the yellow brick road, but like walking on the yellow brick road with your newfound community, right? With your newfound group, or rather, I'm also seeing walking by yourself and meeting people along the way, like the way that it happened with Dorothy and the yellow brick road. So it's less about the people that you're walking in with, although many of us might be, and more about the people that you're going to be meeting along the way in this new journey. And the importance of these partnerships, these connections, and these networking that is going to be happening come in the next few years. So key transits in 2026. first things first, we have Jupiter in Cancer happening, which already happened actually from June 2025 all the way until June 2026. But come June 2026 mid-year, Jupiter will be transitioning from Cancer into Leo. So there's a lot of that I released on Jupiter in Cancer in a last video. So if you would like to watch that, definitely go into the Jupiter in Cancer section to see it. But I'm going to emphasize sort of the beginning of the year and understanding that we are wrapping up a lot of these Jupiter and Cancer themes. So there could have been lots of expansion energy, but also really questioning bigger picture things and deeper meanings and a more sort of philosophical attitude to themes around Cancer energy, such as your understanding of home, your understanding of family, your understanding of motherhood and caretakers, your own relationships with those people, but also the roles that you might play in other people's lives as a caretaker, as a nurturer. There could have also been this energy around self-care and whether you are spending enough time taking care of yourself. You could have found that you were more abundant during this time when you felt rested and cared for and felt like you were pouring more time into taking care of your household versus when you weren't doing those things, and how that played a role in your sense of, luck or prosperity or fulfillment that you were experiencing during this time, again, from June 2025 to June 2026. Sorry. So that being said, with Jupiter transitioning into Leo, there can be this energy around now after having spent a little bit more time and expansion in the area of getting to know yourself in your home, building your foundation emotionally, security wise and safety wise, whether that's like tangible house, but also the understanding of, what it means to feel safe and secure in your ideal sense of home, in your ideal sense of household and family community. And so with that shift into Leo, there can be this energy of a lot more playfulness, and a lot more sort of freer energy, happy energy, joy and fulfillment as a result of having done that emotional sort of expansive work. And now you get to finally sort of breathe in and feel those rewards in a way that makes you feel so vibrant. You can find yourself, after doing all that self-care work, find yourself feeling very confident in your own skin, very confident in the way that you are showing up in external places. Everyone can sort of start to feel a little bit more sort of light energy and finding ways to embody that, because you'll start to see that as you embody those things, more luck comes to you from 2026 of June on, right? More luck is coming to you, more expansive energy is coming to you. That happening at the same time in which we're entering the summer seasons too is perfect timing, right? So just like tapping a little bit more into your own fire energy, into your creative energy, right? Into your creative portal. Right now, anything that you create, anything that you put out there could gain a lot more traction under Jupiter and Leo, right? Anything that honestly is helping you shine in who you are, again, with this 1 year energy, identity energy, and how you're branding yourself with this Jupiter and Leo, it's like an extra luck charm as you are branding yourself. And again, embodying who you really are in a way that makes you shine the brightest, which happens when you're doing it in the most authentic way. And Jupiter and Cancer sort of help you lay those foundations. So that's that on that. Another major transit is Uranus and Gemini happening from April 25th until 2033. So Uranus and Gemini is like wrapping up a 7-year tour of Taurus since 2018. And there were lots of like radical shifts in terms of Taurus energy. So finances, the economy was shifting, major financial shifts were happening. Things like, people working a little bit more in a sort of Taurus energy is a little bit more like slow, steady, kind of like comfortable. When I see Taurus energy, I kind of like see like someone in like a spa with like a robe on and like their nails are done and they're like holding a glass, right? Like, and cucumbers on their eyes. There could have been a little bit more call to work from home, easing up on how hard you're working and how hard you're depleting your body, taking more time to tend to the self. Those are some of the themes that were highlighted with Uranus and Taurus. Also just having a little bit more of an alternative approach to finances. So we also saw like cryptocurrency changes. We also saw like a little bit more of a creative approach and growth and expansion when it comes to starting creator economies, things of that sort. Now, there are going to be major changes that are coming in the communication sector. So again, this can be on a more like local level, right? But with Uranus energy, it is an Aquarius vibe. So it can just be general community, larger, local, more out there, whatever is your idea of community. Those can be sort of emphasized in how you're communicating. There could be sort of sudden changes that come, or sudden insights that come from a lot of the conversations that you're having, whatever social events and gatherings you're going to. A lot more room for networking and collaborations, a lot more room for partnership energy when it comes to, wanting to bring visions to life with Aquarius energy, wanting to, go against the grain here, stepping into a more independent energy, bringing more alternative methods, right? More individualized methods, especially with Pluto being in Aquarius. It's supporting this energy, supporting these new ideas and insights, right? Gemini, the brain is going like this. Insights are popping up here, there. The crown energy is activated. That being said, there can be lots of your own personal ideas and insights that you have. Definitely write these things down when they come up, but go for them, right? Especially do it with someone else. Team up with someone else and do it, and go after these goals, ideas, insights. Make these things more real and tangible for you. Uranus is also heavy on technology. And with the age of AI and Uranus going into Gemini, there can again also be this duality that we're seeing with technology, both the pros and the cons. Seeing this expansion energy, again, also Pluto and Aquarius vibes, but seeing this expansion energy while also recognizing that there is a lot to be careful with, a lot of falling into illusions and a lot of being sort of fooled, right? With this Uranus and Gemini energy, it's very important that you're thinking that through a little bit. You're being a little bit more vigilant in social media and what it is that you're consuming, because Gemini is that brain, that consumption, that mercurial energy. So what it is that you're consuming is very important to understand, right? It's shaping who you are, how you think about things, the things you become opinionated about, the opinions that you do form, right? So a lot of these things are going to be impacted with Uranus and Gemini. So definitely be on the lookout to how communication is altering. There's also going to be a lot of creative thinking and changes in the social media world. So a lot more creatorship, a lot more new opportunities, just new insights and new doorways and paths that are opening up with Uranus and Gemini. So definitely things to look out for. Additionally, we do have the north nodes are switching. So our north node and south node, so the lunar nodes are altering this year as well. So this 2025 year, we had Pisces as a north node and Virgo as a south node the entire year. Again, if you want to know a little bit more about what that looked like and reflect on this past year, definitely look back to the video that I released a year ago on this transit. However, we do have in July of 2026, so another mid-year transit in which the nodes will be shifting to North Node in Aquarius and South Node in Leo. So this is a very big deal. Again, Uranus is being highlighted with Gemini energy and Pluto in Aquarius is being highlighted as well. And so with the North Node stepping into Aquarius themes, again, we did say we were stepping into the age of Aquarius for the next 20 years, but with these Aquarius themes that are being highlighted at a time in which there's a lot of controversial energy in the air, there can be this energy around breaking, I'm here, we're breaking free, we're soaring, flying. Okay, I'm really not a singer, so sorry if that was disturbing. But all in all, with this North Node in Aquarius and South Node in Leo vibes, there's this energy around honestly stepping into whatever destiny or calling you have, into stepping into whatever authenticity, revolting from whatever it is, rebelling from whatever it is, breaking away from whatever it is, institutions, ideas, groups, communities, platform, whatever it is that just, again, it's not giving who you really are. So with this North Node in Aquarius, this is energy of stepping in a little bit more to being seen, but seeing authentically, seen as uniquely who you are, and embracing all those facets of yourself, especially with this year one energy. In the beginning of the year, there's still this wrapping up of the internal work. And towards the end of the year, mid-shift into the year with this Jupiter shift and this lunar node shift, there's this coming, like a spotlight is shining on each individual person. It's like everyone is going to feel like they're in the center in a way. Leo energy is the sun, and Aquarius energy is just really being seen, and Uranus energy is bold and it's here. So with the sun energy and the Uranus energy both being very bold and lots of just radical shifts and embodiment, I think it's really cool to see how the second half of the year, the latter half of the year, a lot of people are going to be stepping into their skin for real, and wearing their crown proudly, and shining in whatever ways, just best embody them. And that's going to be such a positive growth for the collective shift, for the collective consciousness, right? That's what Back to Divinity is all about. So I'm excited to see how that impacts the collective energy. So those are some things to look out for. We do have Venus retrograde happening in the signs of Scorpio and Libra, and that's happening on October 3rd to November 13th of 2026. So things to look out for with Venus retrograde: definitely a review of your finances, your spending habits, a review of, your relationship to food and what it is that you're consuming, your relationship to luxury, sensuality, and if you're spending enough time kind of indulging. It's okay to indulge sometimes, but also being aware of when you're overindulging and being, kind of balanced with that energy. And another thing to look out for with Venus in retrograde is general partnerships and romantic energy. There can be revisiting of partnerships. There can be certain cyclical patterns that happen every time Venus is in retrograde. I would definitely look back. I might actually release a video on this next year because it's in alignment with the themes I will be discussing. But with Venus in retrograde, I would look back to see any other times in which Venus has been in retrograde, because I've done this before and I've noticed that every single time is when I had something pivotal and transformative happen within my relationship patterns and cycles. So definitely look back. Certain patterns and cycles and behaviors and themes can be highlighted, sort of calling to your attention where you are showing up and how you are showing up in a very cyclical way when it comes to your partnerships, and how that retrograde time period might be shining the light on that, calling for there to be some sort of change in that arena. So those are some things to look out for. Venus retrograde has a very much also make it or break it energy. If there are things that have been underneath the surface in your partnerships, those things will be coming up to light. So they can be kind of like a revisiting and a reanalyzing there. Also this energy around beauty, right? You can find again, also with that happening in an October, November time period, right after Jupiter entered Leo and the North Node in Aquarius, and also the South Node being in Leo. So people can also be thinking about the ways in which they're not confident, the ways in which they don't feel comfortable being seen, right? That's that dichotomy of the North Node and the South Node being in Aquarius and Leo. So especially with Jupiter being in Leo, because it's as we face these triggers that we have in regards to how we are shining, right? And how confident we are in ourselves, it's also getting us to heal those things. And once we do, it's the Jupiter energy comes and supports it. And it's woof, expansion, woof, abundance. It's immediate rewards for that work that you're doing. So that's cool. All in all, Chiron, last but not least, will be in Taurus. I do think this is the last one. Let me just double check. Yeah, it is. Okay. Chiron will be in Taurus from June 19th all the way until September 17th of 2026. I haven't really talked too much about Chiron in our channel, but it kind of does. It's heavy on sort of healing deeper wounds. To me, Chiron is our scars, but our internal scars. And so some of the things to think about with Chiron and Taurus is that we're going to be healing lots of energy in regards to, again, Venusian themes. So, but in regards to Taurus energy and less Libra energy. So there's a lot of reviewing our relationship to indulging and how we spend our money, right? Are we holding on too tightly to our money? Are we spending frivolously, right? There's a lot of themes in regards to finances that'll be highlighted with Chiron and Taurus. If you grew up in lack, right? How can those wounds be playing a role in how you are using your money now? Are you using it and kind of reaping the rewards, or are you just holding onto it because of fear, or as a result of fearing losing it? And that can also be sort of sending out this energy into the universe that you have a fear relationship with money, and so because of that, it doesn't want you, right? Because why would something that you're afraid of want to come in? Right? So those are some things to be keeping in mind with Chiron and Taurus. Also business partnerships. There can be wounding in regards to shared resources and things of that sort, and business partnerships that can be provoking some sort of healing, right? Again, triggering that also always leads to healing in whatever way that looks like, whether that's closure first, grief first, and then healing after, but ultimately leading to some sort of healing as you are facing those scars, those wounds, sort of stitching it back up and doing that surgical work is sort of the Chiron and Taurus energy that I am picking up on and feeling heavily for the collective, especially Uranus just leaving Taurus. Again, just doing that final stitching up of whatever impacts we had as a result of Uranus in Taurus, and with Chiron and Taurus, and all the economic and financial shifts that are going on in the world. There can be sort of larger scheme things too that are happening in the financial world, so things to keep a lookout for. Alrighty, folks, that's pretty much it with what to keep in mind for 2026. Again, I'll dive in a little bit more, but this year is about stepping into you. This year is about you. Me. This is the vibe of 2026. Who the fuck are you? Sorry, excuse my language, but who the fuck are you? And once you know the answer to that question, you better be comfortable with wearing that shit all over your body proudly. So yeah, write out that vibe, guys. Thank you all so much for listening to all the astrology stuff that I've been kind of spewing out there, and some, spiritual insights here and there. If you've been a consistent viewer, shout out to you. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to see, how the shift in content, shifts the Back to Divinity community. Alrighty, folks. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and Happy New Year.